Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so hanging out with Brandon today, and let's do a little bit of a watch interview.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and all right, first question. So, what's your favorite brand?
I don't have one. I don't have one favorite brand.
Well, if you had to choose, meaning you could only have one brand for the rest of your life, you could buy from that brand only.
It's tough. I suppose it would be Rolex, but I hesitate to say that because I feel like Rolexes are great, and I have one, but they're not always like the best bang for buck.
Yeah,
you know.
right.
So
I take it you're an Archie viewer from that. Yeah, so
I've been known to do an Archie impression.
Yeah,
here and there.
All right, so it'd be Rolex. Okay, well, I'll have to say the same probably.
Yeah.
All right, so of the Rolex line, which model do you like the most?
I gotta say, well, I have a ceramic Submariner, which I really like, and other than that, I really like the pre-ceramic Pepsi GMT, like the one that you have.
All right.
That's probably my favorite Rolex of all time, actually. Not even though I bought the sub, I think probably the pre-ceramic Pepsi GMT is my favorite. And I do like the Sky Dweller with the blue dial.
All right, interesting. The Sky Dweller. What do you like about that?
I like the annual calendar, and I like that it has an annual calendar and a GMT. I'm really interested in complications, and so that's a really cool thing. And it's like Rolex's most complicated movement right now. So
okay.
I like that.
Yeah, well, if you're a movement guy, then that is a pretty impressive watch. Mm-hmm. Now, yesterday when we were watch shopping, we saw one. Yeah, we did. We saw a couple of them actually.
Yeah.
But we also came across some date subs, and I used to be sort of anti-date sub, and I've sort of come around a bit.
Yeah.
I used to always feel like if I were going to go dive watch, I'd prefer no date. But if you had to have a date on it, I would go sort of pre-ceramic Sea Dweller, right?
Yeah.
But I've sort of come to like the Cyclops. So
yeah, you said you've changed your position on the pre-ceramic Sea Dweller.
Yeah, and so actually I probably would go with a pre-ceramic date sub, like as a one watch possibly.
Yeah. If it were me, and I had to pick a model from the current Rolex lineup for a one watch, I think it would be a ceramic date sub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, makes sense.
Even though I have a no date, if it were my one watch, I think having a date would be useful.
All right, so you mentioned being a complications, like aficionado?
I'm not aficionado.
You like your complications?
I like complications.
Okay, so
I don't have very many in my current collection, but from here on out, I plan to add a lot more.
All right, so looking at time as the base, what is your favorite complication?
Well, most useful is a date, obviously.
All right, and so that's what you would go if you had. You could have your base time. You have to choose one complication. Would you spend it on a date?
If I could only choose one complication, I think I would have to choose a date because it's honestly the most useful.
All right, so
it's not the most romantic.
Yeah, well, it's pretty functional and pretty
functional.
Pretty boring. But
it's very functional.
Okay, so if I were to grant you your date, what would be that extra complication?
Probably, well, I'd say it's a tie between GMT and alarm.
GMT and an alarm. Interesting.
An
okay.
Alarm, yeah.
And
mechanical alarms are fascinating to me.
And do you have any watches with?
I don't, but I plan to add one in the future.
Okay, you were mentioning seeing a Vulcane cricket.
Today when I was in Shibuya, I tried on a Vulcane. They call it the 50s President's Watch, but it uses their in-house cricket caliber.
Because they always give them to U.S. presidents, don't they?
Yeah. It's a modern Vulcane cricket. I tried it on, had a beautiful sunburst brown dial. Oh, it was freaking sweet. And like when the alarm went off, you could watch it through the case back, the little hammer hitting the thing and making the buzzing sound. It was freaking cool.
It was 42 millimeters.
42 millimeters.
And you said it was a good price, like 288,000 yen?
Yeah.
What do they run for?
retail. I mean, nobody buys them at retail. I think the retail on them is like $6,000.
Okay. All right.
I would never ever pay that much.
Yeah,
I think probably about mid 2000s is what I would want to pay.
Right.
If I were getting one, mid to low 2000s is what I would want to pay.
Well, you could always go until then. You could always go say called Bellmatic.
Yeah, I suppose. But the Bellmatic has a solid case back, so you can't watch.
Yeah,
the
that's
alarm.
true. That's true.
And like, I mean, obviously when it's on your wrist, you're not gonna watch it too. But taking it off and just like I would wind up the alarm and then I pulled it out and just seeing that that little hammer going back and forth.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, so alarm or GMT. Well, if you had to choose, would it be alarm? Because you do live in Japan, so
yeah. I would say if I had to choose, it would be GMT.
Yeah.
Because I have family back in the States.
Yeah.
Just like you do. So, and I like having a fourth hand. Like
oh yeah, that is cool.
The aesthetic of like a 4-hand watch is kind of cool.
Yeah,
so,
I feel the same way. Yeah, the function, but also it's just sort of out there.
Yeah,
a 4-handed watch.
Yeah, right.
You don't see many in the wild.
Yeah, so like, in terms of complications, like I'd go date first. You have to get a chronograph as well, even if I don't really use the chronograph that much. Like it's kind of like a must-have complication, and a GMT. And then from there on would add various complications like an alarm.
All right, I hear you. So, all right, now I've interviewed you before, and I talked to you about brands you're not crazy about, and I think you chose a fashion brand, right? So let's just leave the fashion brands aside for a minute and think sort of legit, kind of heavy-hitting brands. Are there any that you're not, that just, I don't want to say you dislike, but that you sort of just, it leaves you puzzled why anybody would spend a couple $1,000s on one? Is there any brand that you're just like, I don't get it?
It's hard to say. I mean, like, obviously a lot of people in the watch community are not crazy about Tag Heuer or Hublot.
Yeah.
I mean, those are really predictable choices.
Yeah, well, I would say besides Hublot, because I don't think anybody likes those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything we'd be surprised about, like you just don't understand.
I can't really say like a whole, a brand as a whole. Like even if I don't like a lot of models from a brand, there are probably some that I do like or I can appreciate. So I can't really rule out entire brands.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's hard for me.
So Breitling and
I actually like some Breitlings. I love the Navi Timer. Tried on a Navi Timer split-second chronograph today. It was pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, too big, but freaking sweet nonetheless.
All right. So okay, well, what about this? Most overrated popular model from any brand.
Overrated popular.
And you could choose a few that just you're like, I think it's a little bit overrated.
That's tough. I mean, my first kind of gut reaction is the Omega Speedmaster.
Okay. Oh.
The man on the fucking moon! Man on the moon! I don't know.
I think you have to pay royalties every time you do that.
Probably do. Sorry, Archie. I like it, and I like the history. I'm a big fan of like watches with a historical context. So I do really appreciate the Speedmaster, but to me it's just a little boring.
Really? Okay.
It kind of leaves me a little cold. If I were to get a Speedmaster, I wouldn't get the Man on the Moon. I'd get there's a Broad Arrow version that has an automatic coaxial movement with a brown dial.
Well, you've been in watches for 12 years, and if you've been in watches for 12 years, that's like 12 years of coming across this Speedmaster. Because it's just everywhere. Even I've only been in watches a couple years, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, it's just everywhere you turn. There's something about the Speedmaster. Whether
especially here in Japan.
Yeah,
I see so many Speedmasters here in Japan.
Yeah, you do see them a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, like they're everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so that's an overrated brand. What about one of the most underrated watches out there?
It's underrated. I don't know if it's really underrated, but it would be my choice. Like, if I were like choosing a single chronograph,
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Zenith El Primero is where it's at.
Okay. Yeah. I know you do like that. In fact,
I'm a huge fan of the El Primero, as you know.
You've been shopping for them recently.
I have been obsessed with them recently. I've had one on my goal list of watches for the last 2 years, and recently I've been actually in the market, and had some ups and downs with that.
Yeah. Well, maybe make another video about that because it's kind of an interesting story. But so the El Primero, which you would
kind of underrated
you would
compared
say
to the
Speedmaster, the first automatic chronograph.
It's the first. Yeah. Well, it's at least the first automatic integrated chronograph.
Hence the name El Primero. Yeah. All right, and so we'll end on talking about your purchases in the future. Now you're in the market for an El Primero.
I am. That's
and then
the next watch on my list. Yeah.
Past that, you got what, 2 more that you want to get?
I have a lot more than 2 more, but if I get if I get those 2 more, I'll get to a place in my collection where I feel like it's really, really balanced and like I don't really need to add anymore.
Your ideal collection is, I want to say 8 watches?
It's probably 12, actually.
12
probably
watches.
12, yeah.
So I saw your mock-up.
I showed you the collage yesterday of the 8. That if I got to that 8, I'd probably be pretty satisfied.
So share with us those 8. Now you've got a few of these 8, but forget about telling what you have and what you don't. Just what are these? What is this sort of 8-piece collection?
All right. Well, it would be my Tudor Black Bay, Tudor Black Bay, which I'm wearing today. Actually, red bezel Edda version. I feel like it's gonna be collectible in the future. It was my first kind of like luxury watch. I mean, it's not really luxury. It's kind of entry level.
Yeah, and you were saying that they're going up because the in-house version, which makes sense.
Starting to go up.
You can't get the ETA version anymore. So, all right, so that's number 1.
That's number 1. Second would be my ceramic Note 8 sub. Third would be, I guess I gotta mention the ones I already have. I have a Stoa Flieger blue limited edition.
Pilot's watch, yeah?
Yeah, Pilot's watch. Blue dial, only 100 made. I love that watch. Took me months to find. And when I finally found it, I was super happy.
And that's a big one. How many millimeters is that?
It's not that big. It's only 40.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that's number 3.
Very wearable. My Glycine Airman 18 that I have.
What drew you to that watch?
The history of it and the 24-hour dial.
Okay, all right. And what do you think Archie would say about that?
He'd call it a shitter. It's a fucking shitter.
Because it's how much is that watch?
I paid $600 for it.
Oh, that's not. Yeah, that it didn't hurt.
Dog shit.
It didn't hurt, did it?
It didn't hurt. Yeah. No, it didn't hurt.
But I saw it yesterday, and actually it was. In fact, do you have it today?
I have it.
Okay, maybe we'll take a look at it because it's an interesting watch. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5.
Number 4. 5 is my Grand Seiko Spring Drive GMT that I got for my birthday. I own it, but it's technically not in my rotation yet.
Okay, because you're waiting until your birthday.
I'm waiting, another 2 months to my birthday to open it and start enjoying it.
So you can appreciate it.
That's also limited edition, 500 pieces.
And that'll
be
your
forest green dial.
GMT function there.
That'll be my GMT. Next, that's 5. Next is the El Primero Striking 10th.
Okay, all right.
You and I were talking about this yesterday. I was wavering between should I get the 38 millimeter standard El Primero tricolor, or should I get the 42 millimeter Striking 10th limited edition tricolor?
And the Striking 10 with that function.
The Striking 10th is a 10th of a second chronograph, so like the chronograph hand will make a full circle of the dial every 10 seconds, and it's so cool to watch. And if I were to have one chronograph, that would be the chronograph that I would want, because it's not just a standard chronograph. Like you hit the button and it's got that little something special.
Yeah, it does.
And so I really like that. And
that was number 6, right?
That was number 6. 7 is a Campanola, actually. Probably a lot of viewers out there don't.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
Don't really know what Campanola is, but Campanola is Citizen's high-end line. And they used to be branded as Citizen or Campanola by Citizen and say Citizen on the dial, but then they pulled a GS thing and they removed the Citizen, and now it just says Campanola.
All right.
But there's a Campanola that I want, and it's quartz, so it's a shit because it's fucking quartz. But yeah, it's got a green hand enameled dial. It's got a perpetual calendar, minute repeater, moon phase,
Chronograph.
chronograph.
Wow. So it's just chock full of functions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quartz, so these complications are like infinitely less cool because they're not mechanical. But it's a 38 millimeter size. It wears like a 40. I've tried it on.
What do they run?
And I love the color. About $1,600 used.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's expensive for a quartz.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not everybody's cup of tea, but I like it.
Sure.
So,
and then the eighth watch was sort of
The eighth watch is something really special. It's a Chrono Swiss Delphis, which is, I mean, Chrono Swiss is not it's not a very popular brand, but they do some really cool stuff, and it is, it's a watch with two really awesome kind of rare complications. It has a jump hour and retrograde. So at 12 o'clock, just below the 12 o'clock, it's a jump hour window. So when the minutes, when it goes to the next hour,
it looks like a date window.
It looks like a date window, but it's not a date window.
It's 1 to 12.
Yeah.
Or 1 to 24.
No, it's 1 to 24.
Okay.
Actually, on this one, some of them are 1 to 12. Some other brands' jump hours are 1 to 12, but this one runs 1 through 24, which is cool. And it's got retrograde minutes in an arc at the 12, so it'll go from 0, and then the hand will go like this, and then when it gets to 60 minutes, it'll snap back to 0, and the jump hour will change.
Okay, that's pretty
cool.
Which
is just so cool to me. Like, in terms of like complications, that's two kind of rare complications in the same watch.
And so that would be awesome. Sort of your ideal 8-piece collection.
Yeah, if I were to stop at 8, I think I'd be pretty happy with those.
That would be quite a collection.
Yeah, and it's very balanced in terms of like function, color. Color is a big thing for me. I allow no more than 2 of the same dial color into my collection. So I have 2 black watches, 2 black dial watches, 2 blue dial watches, 2 silver dial watches, and 2 green dial watches. So just really nice
it's well
balance. Thought
out, which is good.
Yeah, I put a lot of thought into my collection, and I never buy a watch without thinking about how it's going to fit into my collection as a whole.
Right on.
I'm not a willy-nilly buyer, just like buy whatever looks good.
Yeah, well, because you used to... You used to have like a 30-piece collection of all shitters, right?
Oh man, I don't even want to talk about it.
Well, that was...
I mean, for the majority of my watch collecting career, before I got this was the watch that changed it all. But before I got this, I was up to like 38 watches.
You were going for quantity over quality.
Oh yeah, and they were all just like, and I bought them because I was like, oh, like that's a good deal,
So you matured as a collector.
And yeah, I think I really kind of have matured a lot in the last 3 years or so.
Is Archie responsible for that in any way?
Probably not. Sorry, Archie.
All right. Well, take care. Hey, thanks for the interview and good luck with that 8-piece collection.
Yeah.
All right.
See how it works out.
Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.